Hello, everyone, and welcome back, or welcome to maybe your first time for Ready VIP. I'm your host, Emmanuel Class, and joining me today is one of our grand hosts, our founding host, Chris King, and our special guest host, First Edition.
Hey everybody.
Hey, how's it going?
It is so great to have you both here. Chris and I have just recently got to hang out at Walter's Warehouse. We got to take in some music and, celebrate his birthday. And, First
Mhm.
Edition, you are literally the first edition. We put out a call to artists through a first of its kind form, through something that really has been evolving over the, inception and creation of Ready VIP. And so you get to be our first edition on so many levels, it couldn't be more appropriate.
No, thank you. I know I'm glad I'm the first being first edition, so I appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys having me on here.
Yeah, we appreciate you immensely. And it was really, really nice to meet you. And we can dive into that in a bit as well, like in person the other day.
Absolutely. So we're going to open up a little bit with some news and announcements from Chris. I brought him on so we could hear some, information from the founder, news from the front on what's going on with the app and with Rave Daddy over there. And as I
All
see you're
right.
wearing that awesome hat.
Yeah, check out the gear, right? And so a few exciting things in progress. One of them is absolutely tied to this hat. And so this hat, if you check it out, if it's in coming in clearly, it is our
Yeah.
logo for the app. Yeah, so this hat is just a small sample of the merch to come. We're going to be spinning up a merch store, both for our purposes internally, of course, to order our own gear, but also everyone else as we've been out and about, we've been attending festivals and shows. We
Hmm.
hear a lot of like, hey, that's really cool. Where can I get one of those shirts? Where can I get one of those hats? So we're going to start spinning that up in partnership with a local merchant here. So that'll be really, really good. And we're excited for that here in the next month or two. Really, the most exciting news and the most important news that I have to hit on though is absolutely that Rave Daddy has been downloaded more than 1,000 times across more than 80 countries. And it is
Woo!
mind blowing.
Go,
So
go,
yeah,
go, go. Yes, and
That's
this we're gonna
awesome.
look back on this and be like, do you remember that like fourth episode where we thought that was our big deals? But I love
right.
the hat. I love our logo. So it's a
Thank you.
capybara and the like Miami Vice colors. And I also noticed this might be our first episode where we can see your background. You got a bob back there and Christmas hat and sunglasses with the ho 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 going on. It's a
I
whole new
figured I'd put it
Chris.
together. We're upgrading, we're coming along.
Absolutely. Well, it's good to see you. It's good to see the hat. So
Appreciate it.
that covers our news and announcements. If you want to get more information, and really, as soon as it comes out, it's going to go on our social media. So check out the Rave Daddy Instagram, Facebook page, our website. Chris is updating it all day, all the time. You can always reach out to him, and it's a
Absolutely.
great place to get connected to anything else that's going to come out between now and our next Ready VIP.
It is. And I appreciate the space to give a small technical and business update. And now back to the fun.
Absolutely. So, speaking of fun, in our kind of news and announcements, I love to recap the shenanigans we've been getting into because that is really how Rave Daddy started, Ready VIP started, is shenanigans. Um, so
Yeah.
your birthday celebration,
Ooh.
it
Ooh.
was an awesome night.
Careful. Don't give away
Hmm.
don't give away my secret.
I don't know what secret you're talking about.
The age. I'm 29 again, of course. Right? Is that how
Okay,
that
Karen.
works? Yeah. I'll own my 40. I will own it. I will own my 40. And it was a great time at Walter Warehouse. We were able to attend the Funk Fam Jam, I think is what it was called, right? With Govinda.
Yeah, Govinda, man. So there are very few artists where I will just be out and about, frolicking, in the rave environment, which as I do, giving
Frolicking is
out
the right word.
frolicking is the right word. Giving out rune stones, reading people's fortunes, and at Walter's Warehouse, it's just art as far as the eye can see. The rave community is out in force. There's literally like flow dancers in every corner, lights. Everybody, I literally at one point saw somebody going through the crowd with the best expression of joy on their face I might have ever seen. I was like, man, if I could get my phone out fast enough to capture this moment, this is what
Mhm.
pure happiness looks like. Walter Warehouse is just lit.
It was so
And
much fun.
Govinda
Hmm.
stops the show, man. He pulls out a violin and sends chills through the whole place. Like literally everything's in motion and stops for a moment and then bursts back into motion. What a just incredible night.
And a part of that was a belly dancer, right?
Oh
Like the
yeah.
belly dancer wasn't just an attendee, it was like, I don't know, Govinda's official
hmm
belly dancer.
There was a hoop dancer. Um,
Yeah.
and there were a lot of like just full on free dancing. Like it was just what a great place. If you haven't checked out
Hmm.
Walter's Warehouse, go check it out. That's where the community's at. And it was like free if you registered before 11 p.m. or something. Like
That happens there a lot. I actually
absolutely.
just went and reserved, I think, four more tickets because you can do two tickets for each show just
hmm
that way, right? Per email. So it's a great way to, get in early, check out the local artists. Ali Rad was there again with Specs and Saba and one other
Definitely.
person. So, yeah. And speaking of all the art there, the art is amazing, of course, and
hmm
we can dive into that. We can probably spend a whole episode on it someday. But
Oh,
they have the
there.
world's tallest Volkswagen bus. That's amazing. And you can walk
Hmm.
all around it and watch the show from there and hang out. It's really cool.
The photo ops are great. The kind of
Hmm.
insta feel, if you're trying to like get away and out of reality for a bit, it's a great place. And if you're gonna like bring the community out, free show is the way to do it. So,
Yeah.
um,
Hmm.
mad props to whoever was putting that on. I had a great time. Do you want to tell them about our opening ceremonies real quick before we move on to so I want to talk to First
Um,
Edition about his Walter Warehouse experience, but our opening ceremonies were lit.
they were lit. You put on a heck of an opening ceremony, and you, my friend, we need to find some sort of official title for that goes beyond just podcast producer, because really, no, spiritual guru of Rave Daddy. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But
Hmm.
we got together before the show, and our man E here comes prepared with rune stones and totems and drinks, a special drink concoction that he decided to make. And it's don't get wild, it's nothing crazy. We essentially took our good old EDC Ghost here, I believe is what it was, right, at the
hmm
moment, as well as some tequila, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Was
The
there a brand
Ghost
we should
Face
mention?
Killer.
There you
So
that
go.
sounds
That's
pretty good.
right. It was
EDC
amazing.
Ghost, one part, two parts. Favorite tequila. I think you got 1800.
I
I
think
had some
so.
Lalo, but it was
It
good.
was great. But we went around and we quickly just like talked to about and said, a nice thing about each person. And it was really nice. It doesn't happen enough. And I can definitely just say here, like, for the sake of male mental health, more people should do such things.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
100%.
It's a old tradition that both I'm Danish in heritage, but the Vikings would sit around and they would all drink from the same bowl. They would all wash their hands in the same bowl, and they would tell stories to honor each other and honor the gods. But most importantly, especially after like battles and stuff, they would gather around and just like tell the deeds of their friends. What did you see them doing? How awesome are they? And it just builds a camaraderie to lift each other up. And you get to hear about yourself through other people's perspective. And so, our tradition, we all had, I made each one of them bring a special cup, right? That was,
Amazing.
and this is the best part of having like a rave fam is like having your own customs and ceremonies and group gatherings, right? And so we all brought our special cup, we made our special drink, and then we would make a toast to somebody in the group. And we started with Chris because it was his birthday. And I'm going to share just live because this is if you ever need like a letter of recommendation, just send them this video. I don't know if it's going to be great for work because Rave Daddy and stuff, but
That's all right.
Chris
We're
is
forever.
one of the most appreciative people you will ever meet. He
Okay.
will say thank you at every turn, and he just breeds positivity and plur in a way that is just rare among adults. And I'm just so thankful to have to know somebody like that, that like you talk to them and they're just trying to lift you up. And that's such a great feeling. And that's what really the whole community and the music and the scene is about. It's what Rave Daddy is about. It's just having that group that you feel safe with, that you can like communicate with, that you want to like have in your bubble, and you want to look out for.
I appreciate it immensely. You're about to have a dude crying over here. So
Oh,
yeah, no, thank you very much.
so
I appreciate it, and I
pan
appreciate
the
our Ray
camera
fam.
over to first edition.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've been to Walter's Warehouse, correct?
I have. I haven't played there yet, but I've played next door at like the
Nice.
Fillmore.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been there, yeah, for shows, and always the vibes always are good. I think I've been there twice for
Nice.
two shows. It's been a little bit now, but every time I've gone, it's been really good, and I've gone with good people as well. So it's always nice to go there, kind of hang out. They always have really good lineups there, and it's nice to get that like big warehouse feel that you're
Mm.
like kind of in, where it is, like in the city. So I like it.
That's amazing. I love that feel. It's really, a callback to warehouse raves, but in the most classy, like cool, scale way possible. So, um, well, we're kind of segueing into the most important part of our podcast, which is our VIP today, which is first edition. And so we brought you on to do a lot more than talk about Walter's Warehouse. We want to know about you as an artist, what you represent, what your music is, and kind of what your journey's been like. And so now's the opportunity to both tell myself and Chris, but also all the listeners out there, what it all means to you. So, first edition. Oh, can I call you first, or should I call you edition? Is it FE?
You could do first. That works for me.
First. All right.
Yeah,
So I'm really excited to talk to you about your journey because it sounds like you've been at this for a little while. It started in 2016.
correct. 2016. That's when I was just about done with ASU. Um,
Awesome.
and I wanted to kind of just get into mixing. I love going. I went to Decadence all the time. Like my
Yes.
wife now, but girlfriend at the time, we would go all the time um, to all the festivals, all the shows around here. And I saw that, and I was like, man, this is something that would be really fun to learn. Just kind of do on the side, like to see what happens. Um, so I did that. Did it for a couple of years, just as a bedroom DJ. Didn't really do it much else
Hmm.
after, like anywhere else. I would mix, do it for fun, record a mix, and send it to my friends. We'd listen to it,
That's awesome.
or before like shows, we'd mix a little bit. Um, and then I would just keep going from there. And in 2018, I met this guy that I worked with, and we were talking about work just a little bit ago.
Hmm.
Um, and it was something I just kept separate because obviously at work I wasn't like, hey, I'm a bedroom DJ.
Yeah.
So I was he became one of my best friends, and we shared like the same taste in music. We had the same exact um just like, I don't know, style as well with music and how we mixed. So we just go home from work usually every day and mix, and we would do that and then go home, just do it for fun. And then we saw Relentless Beats did like a Gold Rush competition. This was 2019. So we ended up going on that, and we got top 10, and we didn't even have an Instagram. We didn't have anything. We just,
Yes.
Yeah,
so it was like,
yeah,
it
well
was
done.
really sick. It was, we didn't even have a name. So we were like drinking
Wow,
LaCroix. We were
that's
like,
impressive.
we were like,
Hey, we're
what should we name
somebody.
ourselves?
Vote
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
Yeah. We're somebody, we're a duo. And so before the show, we're like, shit, like we got to like start getting this going. So we're
Oh my
both
gosh.
drinking LaCroix, and we see the LaCroix's pamplemousse, and we're like, let's do pamplemousse. Let's do that. Like just something funny. And so we were a duo. We did that, and we didn't win the competition, but it was just our first show we played.
Mhm.
We played at Ara. If you guys remember Ara from, I think they closed like 2 years ago or so, maybe 3 years ago.
Oh no.
Victim of
And
COVID, I think.
mhm.
Predates my Arizona time.
Oh, when did
Yeah, that's
when did you move
okay.
here?
Just a little over about 2.5 years ago. So I think 3 year
Oh,
mark will be
okay,
in April. Yeah. So
nice.
Hey, the sun didn't chase him off. it
Mm.
attacks you like the sun from Mario, but he's here,
Yeah.
so I think we're
I
gonna
Yeah,
keep him.
he's here.
I jumped, I hit the block, I grabbed the mushroom, and I just kept running.
Yeah,
Love it.
that's what you got to do here. You just running from the
Exactly.
sun.
Okay, so you
Um,
were a duo in
yeah,
2019.
yeah. So we were a duo, and then it was right before COVID. So COVID
Mm,
hit,
Mm.
and then we were like, "Damn, there's like our shot." My wife was pregnant at the time, so I was like, "There's really my shot there." But we'll still do it for fun. We did it for fun.
hmm
Um, I've had I had my son in August of 2020, and then after that, I
Congratulations.
thank you. I was trying to like learn because I knew I was going to have paternity leave. So I was like, well,
hmm
like that'd be cool if I can make my own music and then like mix,
Ooh,
and that would be fun.
producing.
That is
Yeah, and
cool.
start producing. And so I would go. I remember in COVID, Ableton had like usually it's a 30-day trial,
hmm
and they extended it for 90 days because of COVID between like March and the summertime, I think. So I was like, oh, what better time? Yeah, I can do it for free for 90 days. Like I can do
They
this
got
before
the
my son
hook.
is here. Yeah. And I would start it, and then I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. This is
Mm,
a too complex. I have no clue.
Mhm.
So then I kind of was going back and forth with it. I did that for like another year, and then I was doing it again. And then late 2022, I was still like, didn't have a name. I was just still like, just doing it by myself, trying to learn. Um, I ended up finding like a mentor that helped, which
mm.
is that was where
Clutch.
I can get like one-on-one lessons.
hmm
I can get help, like just really like get to see what happens because YouTube videos were like not
hmm
working for me. And so that's when I met Dennett. He's a bass artist from he was in U of A when I met him, and now he's blown up. Now he's touring, um,
Awesome.
and he's been doing really good. So he taught me everything I needed to know. He taught me just the marketing side, the music side, how to make
What's
my
his
own
DJ
music.
name?
Dennett,
Dennett.
Dennett, yeah,
We're gonna have to put him in the show notes just for the shout out.
yeah, definitely. Him and Odd Language. Odd Language is another guy that is one of my mentors still. Both of them, I work with them a couple times a month, sometimes like just once a month. But every track I make, I send it to them. Either
Mm,
one of them will usually give me feedback, see how it is, see if it sounds good and what I could fix. And then usually I meet on Zoom like this. We'll go over things like just stuff that I can still learn, get better
hmm
at. So it's been a really good tool to learn. So that was about 2 years ago, and then last year in 2023 was when I was like, okay, like now I got to think of a name. Um, Maybe I can start my Instagram again because we had a Pamplemousse Instagram, but it went dormant for a little bit. And so I was like, hey, I talked to my buddy Nick that was in the duo with me. I was like, I'm going to start this up again, and I'm just going to do it solo, and we're just going to put my music out and see what happens. And so after that, that's when I started um, like trying to just post things. I think I had maybe like 60 followers, 70 followers. And so it felt like an uphill climb to really like meet people, get out to shows, meet friends. Um, and so that was kind of like what started it, and then
mm.
what it went to now.
So we're gonna have to make that leap too, because like it sounds like it's been struggle and setback after setback
Mhm.
after setback, and boy, anybody who's made music and tried to put it out there can tell you that is the reality. Like that's not
Mm-hmm.
the exception, that is the rule of trying to get out there and get your music and do shows and keep up with it and be an artist and be creative and take criticism and feedback from mentors and fans and listeners. And oh my gosh, it can be so crushingly overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah.
It sounds
It,
very familiar. It sounds very familiar to the entrepreneur like journey, if you
Oh,
would, right? Like
it's
there
the
are
oh, I'm
same.
very like
sure.
ooh,
You're a
late
business.
nights,
Mm-hmm.
taking hits, feedback, and then even like, yep, you got your coaches, your mentors, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like, of course, we love and appreciate them. But sometimes that feedback, it's like, oh, I thought it was so good. I have one
Mm-hmm.
question though. One, did you ever consider Pimple Moose as you were considering the name of the first duo?
We a lot of people would call us that, like, because it we worked together at the time,
Oh,
and we became best friends through work, and we actually worked in like the same department. So it got out that we were DJing, and so we were trying to keep it like under wraps, just like between our friends and everything.
yeah.
And a lot of people would say like, yeah, they'd say everything with that name, and we're like, and everybody would always ask us how we got it, and I was like, well, we were drinking LaCroix when we were
Yeah,
thinking of it, and
yeah.
that's how.
You, you know what? One more name drop for LaCroix. We're gonna get a sponsorship, I think. So, one more.
Yeah, I know.
Uh,
I should have drank it for this.
ooh,
We
I didn't think
actually
of
we
that.
did a whole thing on EDC Ghost the last episode, so we're on par, I always
First
think
Ghost,
it's
second
interesting
LaCroix.
where people get their names from, because like, I'm a typical like boy naming things when I name things. It's like we're Ninja Delta Force X Black 59,000 Kamehameha, right? Like it's got to have a sweet name,
Yeah.
my running name for the longest time on all of my tags in my MC world is Bebop, and pretty cool, right? Not bad,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
it's not Pimple Moose, right? But
No.
there are DJs out there, man, where you're like, you see their name and you're like, all right, Squeedle Splot. How'd you
Yeah.
Oh
where'd
God.
that come from, man? But
Hmm.
there's always a story. There's always a
Yes.
story. And so what I'm getting to is I want to know the story of first edition.
So I have a shit ton of Pokemon cards, and I collect cards
Yes.
on the side. Yeah. So I was making music. I was starting to get music that was going to be releasable, or at least I was like, okay, like at least get something going. And I actually had sold some of my Pokemon cards to buy Ableton back in the day.
That is
And
the
so
most epic
Sacrifice.
DJ origin story ever.
yeah, so I ended
Yes.
up getting it, and
Love it.
now it's history. I still collect Pokemon. Um, I don't know if you guys know Big Stabes, but he's also a big card collector as well. So him and I will talk back and forth, send each other like just pictures and stuff. But I just love collecting cards, and that's like my nerd side
Awesome.
as well as like producing. So I love like I have a big collection, and I just was like, you know what, that'd be sick to have like my music and like my card hobby
Hmm.
all in one kind of.
Hell
That's
yeah.
really cool. Did you ever have you been able to buy back the ones that you sold to start this
Oh,
career?
I haven't yet. I need to, because
You
that's
will.
always something I need to do. And it, the ones that I have like sold and like bought, it it's always like it's always coming in, but usually it always is harder to get them, to like sell them and get them out of there,
Oh,
because it's always something that I don't know. It's always hard for me.
So first
absolutely.
edition, what was your first edition Pokemon card? I remember mine.
Oh man, I don't even I don't even remember, because I know when I was a kid, we all had the
Hmm.
binders. We all like had them
Hmm.
back in the 90s.
The
And I
90s.
remember I gave up my Pokemon cards, I think when I was like in middle school, to my younger cousins.
Hmm.
And now I'm like, damn, if only I'd kept that. So I don't remember, because I have pictures of my binder with everything, and like pictures of my cousin and I, like as like
That's
5 year
awesome.
olds or whatever, going through it.
Frame
But
it.
yeah, now it's like I've been going back
Good.
to like try to buy buy like the older ones.
Good
So
on
my
you all for even having binders to begin with, because we just had an old shoebox and they were creased and they were bent and oh
mm.
yeah, don't come for me. I understand now. It's all hindsight.
Yeah.
Oh man, so I was a little bit of both, right? I had so many cards that there were definitely boxes and boxes of shoe boxes of cards, right? Like tote
Hmm.
boxes and tubs of cards of Magic the Gathering and Pokemon and UFS and every other card game you can think of. Uh,
Oh yeah.
my first edition Pokemon card, I was nine, maybe nine, no, maybe 10, right? Because it was the golden age.
Mhm.
And I had bought the first edition Machamp starter deck that had like
Oh.
Machamp on the front. And then
Hmm.
I bought a Hitmonchan first edition for my friend was also fighting Pokemon and brought it to him so that I could get him into it. Because
You
every nerd needs a nerd friend to be like, hey,
know. Hmm.
I found this game. Play with me,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
And
Hmm.
so I saw that card come back up because every once in a while, you're scrolling through Instagram or whatever, and they'll have one of those videos where they're like, pricing your old Pokemon cards. What are they
Hmm.
worth now? You wouldn't believe, and you're damn right I would not believe because it's like it's a house note. Like I saw that first
Yeah.
edition Machamp come up, and I was like, the sweats, and you're like, do I still have that? Is that like an old crypto bank around here somewhere that I just forgot I left?
Sitting
Because
in a parent's attic in a
there's
box
literally
somewhere.
boxes of games in
Mhm.
every corner in this room, and that Machamp still might be in here somewhere.
You have to
You never
find it.
know.
Get it.
My kids will find it
Hmm.
one day, right? Like,
Hmm.
the archaeological find, they're like, and you were willed this box of random stuff, and they're gonna be like, thanks, Daddy. And they're gonna
And
look
it will
inside
pay
it,
for 1 year of college.
right? And they're gonna be like, oh my God, Dad was loaded. He had
Yeah,
Pokemon
that's
cards,
Get Pokemon cards.
which will
the
be the currency
artifact.
of the future.
Hmm. There's a lot
Um,
of people now. Like, I mean, that's always my excuse, and luckily, like, I have my wife like supports it. She supports both these hobbies. Um, well, this one, I think card was like just more expensive being in that
mm,
hobby, just because of the prices and what it's been
hmm
since COVID. But now I have two kids, so I know I
Yeah.
always say like they're gonna have to split it. If anything happens to me one day, they're gonna have to split it and see what they want because I have sports cards as well and Pokemon, so that's
Mm,
just the
yeah.
bad mix.
You are a real rave daddy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so another
Yeah.
first edition, this is the first episode that we've aired without our original intro song, which was by our first guest, Nielsen. Amazing song, and it was great to like and still have it. But to be able to bring your music on, so we did a custom intro that the guests got to see coming in that you actually probably haven't even seen yet because I gotta edit it. Um, but we're gonna have a special intro with
Yeah.
your song, Run It Up. So let's talk about that intro song. Tell me about Run It Up.
I just dropped it 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks to tonight actually
Really?
on on Badmouth, their
That's
record label
awesome.
in LA. So I did like just a short little 2 song EP, and that was one of them. And I made it I think in April or May, and just kind of like was working on it for a couple months, and then finally sent it to them. I think about a couple months, 2 months ago. Um, and now I'm finally happy it's out because I've played it every set. I always have that song in there because it's one of my favorites that I've made, and it's just a staple that I always like to play out. So it's good that now it's out streaming, out on SoundCloud, and just out for everybody to listen to it.
And then they
It's a
did get to
banger.
hear a small clip of it in the intro, and they can find out more about it on your Spotify. But let's talk about that song because it is very eclectic and unique. And like, I'm getting Apache vibes with the choir, but then there's like some hip hop, like grunge, and then there's like heavy EDM. And I feel like I'm on a roller coaster, and I'm just going, wee! Whee! The whole time. It's twists and turns at every corner, and I love that song.
Thank you. That yeah, I wanted to do like something heavier when I was like writing it, and I like to do like a lot of trap, a lot of bass. My main inspirations are all grime, so it's like the perfect mixture of like having that trap
Totally see
music,
it.
the bass
Yeah.
music, a little bit of melodic. And so that was something I was thinking. I was just like, I just need something for like when I play that's just hard, hits hard, and something to just get the energy up. And so um, I found those vocals, and I think it was from Fabian Mazur. Mazar. He does like those
hmm
sample packs with just vocals, and um, I love using those. So that one, I was like, okay, I'm gonna add it to that and just do something that's like very heavy.
It's delightful. It was unexpected. It was the first song I played because it's top on your Spotify, and it was just like first edition. Hmm. Play. What? Oh, I can't believe we're gonna have him on. This is great. Like I was just so pumped for it. I also
Thank you.
I really do like Don't Stop. Like we're not gonna talk about it because like they're gonna have to go check that out on Spotify on your own. But go check it out. Don't Stop's also just a vibe on it. So I made it into my EDM caviar playlist. It's like
Hell yeah. Thank
delicious.
High
you.
praise, high praise.
Thank you. They that one, yeah, that was my last release before these ones. And
And you're not gonna talk about it because it's a secret. Because anybody listening, they need to go to Spotify and listen to Don't Stop. And don't
that is
stop
right.
listening to it. But we have another song we're going to talk about because you also gave me outro music, you superhero of music, man. Uh, and what I really want to talk about, I don't want to cut you off on Don't Stop. I would love for you to not stop talking about Don't Stop because I love that song. But Shaken is in our outro, and I have to have that story. You have to tell us about the song for the outro.
Yeah. So this one, that one has a little bit more of a story. I started it a year ago actually, and it started. I was like, one of my other artists I really like is Jewels, and so I wanted like a song. I
Dope.
wanted to make a song that was like that. So version one of Shaken was very different. It was like kind of Jewelsy, but didn't sound good. I couldn't get it to like
Hmm.
mix down right. So I think in spring of this year, I went back to it. Usually I'll go in old project files and kind of see if I can get the ones that maybe I half finished and finish them finally, or just like kind of reincarnate older ones that can be made differently. And so I did that with this one. And it was something I was like, again, doing it like the radio chatter stuff at the beginning. I wanted it to kind of like lead into like something that hits hard once again with that, kind of like run it up. And so that's when I had the idea with that to kind of make it what it is today.
Love it. And I love that we're being able to expose people, whether they like it or not, right? Like by force, to your
Yeah.
music in the intro and the outro here. And we're going to do a little bit more of that too, because in true first edition style, uh, you have also given us a special debut song to play here on Ready VIP. And you're the first person to do that. I've asked other DJs, like, hey, you got a song? Can I play a song? And you're the man for letting us play this. And so just give us a little crumb real quick about the song we're about to hear, which is Love Me Like.
That's right. Yeah, I've kind of wanted to make a melodic trap song.
Okay,
So this is my take at it. And so I have it wrapped up now and I'm gonna start sending it out hopefully to a couple smaller labels here and
nice.
see what happens.
Well, what we're going to do is I'm going to play that song, and we're also going to play some footage that you sent me and some pictures. And so they're going to get to see kind of a little mini first edition concert right now.
Sweet. Let's do it.
And we're back. So, man, love me like. I said
Woo!
fire earlier. I don't know that I need a hotter term. What's hotter than fire, Chris?
Lava.
Lava? Nah, not hot enough. No,
Ah,
we need something
ah.
hotter
The
than
plasma
lava.
of the sun.
Plasma. I like where we're going with this. Now we're getting interstellar.
All
Okay.
right. Call
Quasar.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'm out of ideas.
That shit was a quasar.
There you
Like,
Oh,
it's
thank you
the loudest
guys.
thing in the universe, and it's hot.
go.
No, you guys are the best. I appreciate that. Yeah, that one I've been working on and then finally finished it up like 2 months ago. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with it.
Nice.
I'm grinning ear to ear, man.
All good things. All good things.
So now that the audience has got to hear it, they got a little first edition concert right here on Ready VIP. Tell me about the song. Like, what inspired it? What inspires your music? Like, where does it come from? And like, what do you think personifies it? How would you quantify your music?
Like I said, RL Grime, he's like my main
Mm-hmm.
inspiration for what I want to make my music like one day, where I can have kind of that, the melodic trap, the trap,
Mm-hmm.
get into like just heavy trap bass music. And that's something that I've always been really inspired by. And I also really like Dead Crow. He's one of my favorite
Okay.
artists. He has a lot of very heavy trap. Um, and then Jewel's, a lot of like Sable Valley guys that I've been listening to and listen to their music since they've started. And that's something that I'm really trying to get my music towards because that's just something that I love
Mm.
listening to.
Set that bar
And
high.
yeah, that's something that I hopefully can combine like a heavy trap and heavy bass element together so that I can make it my own.
So what makes you want to make that music though? Like what draws you into that genre? Because you could do any genre. You're a very talented artist. Uh, what put the finger on that label?
Ooh. Yeah, I think what draws me to it is just the good vibes that you feel like listening to like
Mm,
Arl. If you have been to an Arl Grimes set, you go from some heavy like
hmm
trap music, heavy bass music, to then melodic, to then back. It kind of pulls you back and forth, and so I love like just that energy of that music and how it makes you feel. Where you can get melodic, you can get pretty with it,
mm.
but then also have those elements that then brings you back into it. It makes you just want to headbang and just really get into like a different sounding, like experimental sound.
Hell yes. And I love the duality there, right? Like the being able to capture the musicality of the melodic side of it and how that connects to people, right? Like, 'cause
Mm-hmm.
I think the melodic side of EDM is where like that's what pulls the heartstrings, that's what makes you feel nostalgic. That's what like I think is like the humanity of it where people are like, "Wow, this is why I gravitate to this is because it's the people part of all the robots and the wubs and stuff." And
Mm-hmm.
then you take it and you throw that shit off a cliff and you're just like, "Skydive now."
Yeah, and that's what like that big inspiration of that music. Like it's always fun to go to those shows. I mean, he's my favorite artist, so I'm a little biased,
Awesome.
but they're always the best to go to. And even seeing like artists now like ISOXO where their shows just look crazy, and his shows just look like they have energy the whole time. That's something that hopefully one day I can produce music that can replicate that.
And that is a perfect segue into our next segment because we wanted to talk about the future, where we're going, and we all have a big festival on the horizon, which is Decadence. And you know, man, it's the party of the year, in my opinion. So I am so excited to hear about your experience leading up to Decadence and what you've been doing to get prepared because you're going to be playing your new music there that we just debuted here. So talk to me. What's your Decadence dance card look like?
Yeah, this one I think this is the most excited I've been because it's obviously playing my first festival. It's a festival I've gone to for lots of the years that it's been going. My wife now, she was my girlfriend at the time. I remember we were going in 2015, 2016, like right when they were getting going with this. And it was always the best time.
Hmm.
And that was one of my goals was one day to hopefully play this. And so I've been just preparing, really trying to get music finished by at least halfway through the month so I can start preparing my sets because I want to have all the music I have been working on, my collabs I'm working on to be finished by the time I can have my set. So then I can play them out, have new music and even more unreleased music in that set that's intertwined with everything.
What's that? You want to collab and make a song by Decadence and have me debut it on the stage with you? That's
Yeah.
crazy, but I'm in. No, that's awesome. I'm super hyped to see your set, man. So what stage are you playing on?
Thank you. I will be on the beatbox stage on New Year's Eve. I don't have a
Beatbox.
time yet, but I'll be on the
Ish, we
beatbox
don't talk
stage.
about times, remember? It's not out yet. But yeah, that's exciting. Super exciting that you'll be on the beatbox stage. We don't know a whole lot about it other than last year's Decadence was amazing, and so this year's
Hmm.
Decadence is gonna be amazing. It's their anniversary, and so
Hmm.
I know they're gonna go over the top. In fact, one of our like I guess the official like Rave Daddy look, right? Like our we have our own
Yeah.
personal amazing Jeremy, and he also works for Relentless Beats. And so while he doesn't tell us anything, he just constantly tells us how amazing it is and how hard they're working on it. And we're like, thanks again for the same update 11,000 times, but we love you
Yeah.
for it because we're hyped too.
We get the
Hmm.
teasers. We get the teaser,
Yeah,
little droplets. But isn't the official theme like Age of Indulgence?
it
Isn't
is.
that the, yeah.
Hmm.
I've already seen the facts.
First, it'll be a good first one for this guy to go to.
This
I
is one
love
of
that.
my
Ooh,
I
Decadence
love that
heavies.
so much.
Gene Wilder
I love
in
that.
the factory.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to up my hoodie game because that's something about being here in Arizona. Like you're fine during the day, but when the sun goes down, ooh, you want to layer up for sure.
Hmm. And
Heck yeah.
Decadence is always cold. Every
Always
time I've
Yeah.
gone to Decadence, it's cold.
dress in layers because when you're in the crowd, it's so hot
Hmm.
because it's like, 10,000 BTUs or 100,000 BTUs depending on which stage you're at, and they're all just pumping as everybody's dancing.
Yeah. Well,
So
then there's
like,
like
Hmm.
fireworks, right?
yeah,
And pyro and everything else. Yeah.
if you make it that close.
Of 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 course. Well,
But
I'll just hang
like
out with you.
you know what I'm like.
Oh, I know. I grabbed the
Keep
back of
up,
your
yeah, just grab the
hoodie
back of
and
my hoodie
like
and here we go.
rave train.
Hmm.
I ordered a ton of Marshmallow gear on Black Friday because his
Ooh.
website, like all the hoodies and sweats and stuff,
Oh
are like
yeah.
15 to $20. Like his
All
pashmina is
right.
like $12 or something. I was like, yeah, boy.
All
So,
right.
Hmm.
and then my
That's like,
wife always does like an individual outfit for every event, custom tailored that she works on for months. And so with Decadence last year, we won VIP tickets and it was so good. We're like, like we put it on our calendar in 2023 that we were going to this in 2024 immediately. It was just that good.
Hmm. It's
And
definitely one of my favorites, and I feel super lucky that I get the opportunity to even play like something like this because it's a something I've been going to since the beginning.
who are you looking forward to seeing? Like who's on your like agenda?
Definitely, which I hope I'm not playing at the same time, is ISOXO. He's
Nice.
been one of my favorite artists for years. I remember in COVID watching his like streams on Sable Valley.
Mm-hmm.
They would have streams with like him, Rossi, just kind of like right when I was finding out about these artists, where they would do sets, like everybody was doing the virtual sets. And so
Hmm.
that's what really made me like fall in love with his music, was like that time. To where now he's playing massive festivals worldwide. So
Heck
I'm
yeah.
hoping he's on New Year's Eve as well. So I'm really hoping
Ooh.
I can catch his set, because that's one that I do not want
Okay, who else? That's one. There's like
to miss. Okay.
There's
Yeah.
so
50.
many.
Yeah, I want to so the day before, I want to definitely catch Excision. I haven't seen Excision since I think Gold Rush of like 2017. So it's been a long time. Um and I want to see Troy Boy. Got to represent the
Yes.
trap. Troy Boy.
Yes, Troy Boy.
Oh, I was watching his Lost Land set a couple months ago, and it looked really good. So
Oh, I
they
love
have
Troy
a
Boy.
really good stack lineup. And then I obviously I want to go support
Yeah.
my friends, my other producer friends that I'm pretty close
Hmm.
with. Um,
Absolutely.
like Death Beat. I just played with him at the Whipped Cream show.
Heck yeah.
We have a collab
So good.
together, and now he's become like one of my friends. Jesse JML5. He's been playing lots of shows. He plays like DMB. We just came out with a DMB remix a couple weeks ago. Um, and so he's been one of my good friends as well. And then just catch the others like Desert Hydra. He's always really good. Um,
What a
I'm trying
sick
to.
name.
Yeah, it is.
He's yeah, he's really good. Um, it's just it's stacked. The beatbox stage. A lot of my friends that were able to get on there, like District 13, um, uh, Black Rose, they're all
Black Rose is
That's
awesome.
sick.
I met
doing really
him.
good sets.
We were at the Egyptian,
Oh
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah. Oh, I
And
was there too.
yeah, Fluorescence.
then we actually
Yeah.
probably have met first edition because I was there really early. I left kind of early after
Oh,
Nielsen's set because one of
Yeah.
my DJ
Well,
friends, he literally texted me and he's like, "Would you go to a Nielsen concert like now?" And I was like, "You mean like now, right now?" And he's like, "Yeah, basically." And I was like, "Yeah, all right."
yeah. You're like,
And
hell
the
yeah.
so
bat signal went up. We
yeah,
all
I
went. Yeah, it was
I
great.
call out Chris, he grabs Jeremy, and before you know it, we're all there, like full rave fam. So
It was so
Oh
much fun.
man. We're probably right next to each other. We didn't even know.
probably,
Right?
yeah, Black Rose is what a great person,
So,
great
Hmm.
yeah.
tattoos. I got some pictures with him.
Ooh.
I follow him on Insta now, so I think he'll be at Decadence too.
I have
Yeah.
to ask to take us back to Excision, right? Like, there's so many potential collabs with other people who are there that they've previously collaborated with, right? Because there's Excision, there's Wooly, there's
Hmm.
gonna be Space Laces, right?
Hmm.
Hmm.
What do you
Oh yeah.
think are the potential opportunities maybe for unbilled, unmarketed, just random, B2Bs, collabs in the moment, appearances,
I think
anything possible?
one. I hope what happens. Totally forgot to mention them, but obviously like Eptic, Space
Hmm.
Laces, doing is it Master Hand, like the three of them.
Yeah,
Space Laces, Sudden Death, and Eptic. Since they're all playing
it's gonna be
Decadence,
huge.
if they could have a set there for it, I think a lot of people would love that, and that would be something that I think would be like the talk of Decadence if they all three are going to be able to
That'd be
play together and
massive.
do a Master Hand set.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. Even if it lasted all of 20 minutes, it would be massive.
It
I
would.
have some predictions.
Hmm.
I want to hear them.
So prediction number one, which is really the prediction everybody cares about, in my opinion, is where Subtronic's gonna be December 30th, right?
Oh
Online,
yeah.
he's not listed anywhere. Being December 30th. He's in Decadence in Colorado on the 31st. Last year, he went from here on the 30th because I saw him and it was amazing.
Hmm.
Um, to the Decadence in Colorado, and I don't know why he wouldn't do it again this year, unless he
Hmm.
just wanted an extra day off, which I totally get, man. Like, do you, boo? But I'm really hoping that we get like and this is just a totally selfish hope, but like, I was like, he's not anywhere. I'd love to see him on the 30th. Like,
Yeah.
this goes
Hmm.
from a list to an S tier bill when Subtronics joins, right? Um, and he has so many collabs with so many of these artists. He has so much clout. He loves Arizona. He always just brings the best show. He gives that end of the year speech. So that's my number one prediction. Let's see if
I
I'm right.
like it.
If I am
I
right,
like it. I'm gonna think of you if I
yeah,
see him.
we're gonna have a little mini celebration. We're gonna do a
Two
dance.
subtrons.
Yeah.
Subtronics. We need to tag him, make him come. This is what made him come. I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then my second is that we will get some version, whether it's bringing them out on stage or whether it's like call outs like they did with Ganja White Knight with Wooly and Excision. They just
Yeah.
Mhm.
dropped collabs. They have collabs. They're friends, and they did the Ganja White Knight collabs. So there's a bunch of music for them to be able to like bring in that feel and vibe of like that kind of unique heavy rhythm.
Mhm.
And so that would be like my prediction number two is that one of the two of them will bring their buddy out and do the thing, and we'll all just go nuts, and I'll squeeze my nipples or something. I don't
Errol.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big Wooly fan. Super excited to see Excision live. So that's a big. Both of them are like high on my dance card. Dom Dalla. Um, Mal P. I don't know why I said Dom Dolla. Oh yeah, he's gonna be there.
Mhm.
Zed. Zed's dead,
Zed's
right?
Dead,
Like,
super high
come
on
on.
my list. Dude,
Mhm.
what's your favorite Zed's Dead song? That's the real question. I don't want to know your
Oh,
horoscope. What's your favorite Zed's Dead song?
the Eyes on Fire remix.
Woo!
Oh,
Goosebumps.
yeah, that one is one of my favorites, and that's been something that I've been. I just remember like because I think like when Skrillex was getting big, I was in high school. It was like 2010, 2011, and I remember hearing like that. I think that came out around then, but also just getting influenced with the original like dubstep sound.
Mm-hmm.
That I think it was what brought all of us into it and really like pioneered what it is today.
It's so true. He's super duper like on that bucket list good. And so I'm really
Hmm.
excited to see him. And I haven't seen him. Everybody's like, I've seen Zed. I have not seen Zed. What about you, Chris? What's your favorite Zed's Dead?
Well, it's recently changed, and it's more recent.
Mm,
Thanks to you, of course, my little official Rave
right on.
Daddy Warlock. Because I do have a 15-year-old son, right? And as teenagers are teenagers, like, ah, dad has this thing over here and it's cool, and he goes and parties and has a good time, and that's good. But of course, right, he spends most of his time in his cave. Anyways, long story short, channel flipping, right, like because of that, because the introduction is allowed and the interaction is allowed with my son, and now it's become like a gateway, if you would. So like thank you very much, Zed's Dead, for being the gateway drug for my son to get into EDM.
Love it.
That's
Um,
awesome.
Tomb of the Scorpion is a
Ooh.
song that hits in that like special samples and uh the sounds that they use. It's him and Che.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
And like there's this one part right before the samples kick in again where he's like the Tomb of Solomon or whatever, where they take this really high pitch like chime sound or like laser sound and it's like and the speed and tonality and timing of that sound bite is so perfect that every time I hear it, I stop and I start the song over again and I'm like, nope, this one's worth going through again. Just for that one little bit.
Hmm.
Um,
That's how you know you got a good song if you you always got to find that little part.
you know, there so many masterpieces. Decadence is going to be amazing. Is there anything else you're looking forward to at Decadence?
Ooh, I don't think so. I know I like Side Piece. I think that would be cool. I've never seen them together. I've seen Nitty Gritty back like when he opened for Ghastly, I think in
Mm-hmm.
2018. And his set was the energy was crazy the whole time. So I want to see Side Piece. I know my
Heck
wife,
yeah.
they keep playing this ID that my wife is obsessed with. So I want her to experience that live. Um, so yeah, I think that really rounds it out. I think I'm hoping Master Hand happens. I cross my fingers and hope it happens.
Nice.
And then yeah, like I said, also ISO XO. Really, that's the number one that I want to see, and hope that, praying again, crossing my
Mhm.
fingers, I do not have a conflict myself with him.
I feel
We'll
that.
record it for you. We'll send someone
Yeah.
over to record it at
That's
least.
my biggest fear is that there are conflicts of artists I want to see at the same time. Like Troy Boy and Wooly are on the same day and their names are right next to each other on the thing. And so if they're right
Oh.
after each other, wonderful. Troy Boy to Wooly, Wooly to Troy Boy, I am there, baby. But if it's like, Troy Boy and Wooly and I have to pick one, no! Because I mean, I just saw Troy Boy when he was here with Rez and his set was incredible. His musicality is incredible.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, he's really good.
I'd be sad to miss either of them. So let's play a game. I'm going to give you two artists, and you have to choose between the two of them on one stage, one day, one choice. All right?
Okay.
Your first choice, and you can play along here with me at home if you want to get a piece of paper and a pen out, right? In our closing here, we're going to play this little game and with some fun, some shenanigans. Would you Dom Dalla or Space Laces?
Space Laces.
Chris?
I had the same answer.
Why am I not shocked? Shock.
Uh,
This is my shock face.
mhm,
And that's no shade to Dom
mhm.
Dalla. Dom Dalla is incredible.
Oh, super
Yep.
talented. Yeah.
Okay, so Dead Mouse or Sudden Death?
That's a little tougher for me.
Hmm.
Let's say sudden death, because I always see the void.
Ooh.
I always see the void sets, and I've seen Dead Mouse, and I haven't seen
Okay.
sudden death yet. So,
Okay.
All right. So
The void
that's where
sets.
we're gonna differ because I don't know how it's been managed, but I have not seen Dead Mouse. And so
Hmm.
Dead Mouse, if you hear this, if
ooh.
anyone connected to Dead Mouse hears this, like, well, let's work together. But
I know J Mouse, so
there you
we
go.
can
There you go.
connect you with
Nice.
J
There
Mouse
you
and Dead
go.
Mouse.
We'll
So
work
there
through
we
our
go.
and I'll see House Mouse this weekend. So I'm gonna collect my mice, and eventually I'll get to the right one.
Excision or Wooly?
Excision.
Excision.
I'm a different with both of you. It's Wooly. You're wrong. You're wrong. That's fine. You can
I'm
you
hoping
can
for the collab we just
We'll
talked
do
about.
both.
Yeah, I know.
We'll,
I
I
we'll
love
do
I
both.
love
know.
it.
Yeah.
I
It's
know.
like,
In either
do
way,
you
you're gonna
like
get an amazing
dinosaurs
drone show.
or
Right.
do you like woolly mammoths? And I'm here sitting with toys like, I want them both to play.
I want to play Ice Age.
Rawr, rah, rah, rah. Right. Last one here. All right. We gotta do something tough. How about John Summit or Mal P? This is a little out of your genre, right? A little house on the house.
Yeah, well, I think John Summit, he's the
Okay.
biggest name in house, I
Ooh.
think. So, um, and I think he has a countdown set. So
Yeah, he
maybe
does have a
that's
countdown
weighs it
set.
a little bit more.
Oh, that might waver, right? Because I mean, he was just here, and he seems like he's
We just
everywhere
saw
a
them
lot,
together.
and right. So yeah, but the countdown in the show, and I mean,
I mean,
he
let's
was one of
maybe
the
assume
last
that Mal
ads,
P's the
right?
other countdown, like just randomly, like just
All
to even
right,
that out, because we
there
don't know
you
who the other
go.
countdown is.
That's true.
Hmm.
I didn't realize there could be two at the same. Like
There will
I would
be multiple
figure because
countdowns because
John
all the
Summit was the
stages will have their own countdown.
last announced, I thought, or at least the latest announced, wasn't he?
Well,
I
he's
just
so he's main stage, right? That's where the balloons will
okay, all
drop and
right.
the confetti drops and you cry a
Fireworks
little
and
and you remember
drones
why
and
you're alive, right? Decadence is just it's gonna be amazing. So, Chris, I didn't get a chance to ask you, what are you looking forward to? Is there anything else that, Decadence coming up that hits
it's
your
going to it's gonna be my first decadence. And you have never, ever,
Oh,
ever stopped. I don't think 3 days have gone by without a mention of decadence and how amazing it was last year, and how I've heard stories of shaking the railing, right? Like the walkway, I think it was.
oh, shake the
Um,
bridge. Yes, that
There you
story's
go.
legend.
Yep, yep, yeah, it is. So we'll have to save that for another time. Maybe
hmm
the post-decadence wrap up.
hmm
But
Hopefully I don't
I
shake the
look
bridge
forward to
this
the
time.
entire thing, quite frankly, right? Like the community that's grown here has been absolutely amazing. Credit to our guest and everybody else that's been involved, and seeing everybody we just talked about, right? And just getting back out there. Like that's what I look forward to the most. So, and
Loving
then of
it.
course Excision and then Subtronics should arrive,
Yeah, totally
of
gonna
course.
happen. 100% we called it.
Hmm.
Pulled that out of the air.
We're manifesting.
That's
That's
right.
right.
This whole episode, we started with
Right.
manifesting. We've been
Love it.
Hmm.
manifesting the whole way, and we're going to end with manifesting. That's actually so one of my favorite things about rave culture is like trinket trade and trading bracelets with people. Back here behind me, I literally have like a shelf of just like stuff that I get from raves, and I cherish it forever. So if you're watching this and you bring me stuff, if you have given me stuff, I always have it, and I look at it lovingly. And just remember all the rave memories, right? They're all enchanted with. So previously, my last Decadence, I had a rave fam and we were all going together on day one, and then day two was just like my wife and I exploring, but it was our first Decadence, right? Like, and we're as we kind of talked about earlier, frolicking in the rave land, as we do. And I overlooked the opportunity to coordinate ahead of time with other ravers. And so I'm there and I've got the best rave loot, man. I give out like crystal totems and rune stones and custom made bracelets that
Spirit totem animal. I have a crab.
he does. He has a spirit crab.
There.
And they're
I
all
love it.
everybody gets ones that connect to them and it's the magic is you, it's not me. And so it's a really fun thing, but when you don't coordinate with anybody, you have no plans to trade stuff. You're literally just talking to strangers. You're just like tapping people and you're like, "You have a nice bracelet. Would you like to trade?" All right. And you just feel weird. You're just like, I'm an adult talking to people like I'm a child and they don't know how to handle this. Right. But not that, there's anything wrong with that because that's part of the culture and the community is just talking to strangers and getting to know people and meeting people in the crowd. But there is like the AZ Rave Fam Facebook group, which is an absolute riot of memes and shenanigans and troll posts. But in there are some just great people that are community members that are helping people connect to music, connect to festivals and events going on, connect to tickets. And the flow dancers and the candy traders and the pearlers are out in force, and boy, do I love it. So I have spent the last year, because as Chris said, I can't shut up about how much I have enjoyed that experience, right? And I
Love
may
it.
have mentioned it once or twice. May, right?
Just a little bit.
And so I put posts out there and I'm like, hey, this is us. This is my rave family. And it's kind of shrank this last year. So at Decadence, I would like to meet some people. And they did not disappoint. People were like, oh, yes, these are the logistical coordinates to meet me at on this day. And if your Instagram doesn't work, you can find me by GPS, right? Like they pinging the location. And so I'm so excited to meet other ravers, to trade trinkets and candy, to just immerse in our community because we all just love the music, we love the people, we love the vibes. And that's what it's about. You can't really put a finger on the magic, but if it's anything, it's just that the sense of community is overwhelmingly positive. Um, and so I'm really pumped up for that.
Hmm. Yeah, that's what I love too, especially like making the music. I think it's always nice because like I remember back even when I think when I first was getting into it, going to like my first warehouse show, I remember
Hmm.
people giving me candy. It was my first show, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" Like everyone's super nice, and that's how it is most of the time. Like you'll go to a show, and even like other producers, it's the same culture. Like everyone's really helpful. Everyone's always helpful. Like posting your song or like just
Hmm.
helping you in whatever way to help your music get better, and give feedback, like I mentioned before. And that's something that I think it always is nice that like from each side of it, it's always like very positive. And I think that's something I always like to live by.
Love that. And that is what Rave Daddy is all about.
Yeah.
Bringing the community together, helping people coordinate safely, and sharing really just the positivity. We talk often that like it's not about being a rave daddy yourself, but the app is that for you. So it takes the load off of you so that you can go and enjoy the festival more. So you and your friends can coordinate better.
That's it.
And you
And
know,
go on your side quest.
yeah, go on
Please,
your side.
please
Yeah.
enjoy your side quest. I'm not here to stop your side quest. I want you to side quest. I just want you to side quest safely. So if you decide to take a nap in a porta potty or somewhere under a tree, your friends can find you.
Yes,
That's
definitely.
all.
And if you need help, right, there's the
That's
SOS
it.
button. Um,
Absolutely.
and I will also say that it's kind of like having a totem, right? Like there's big totems, people carry them into festivals. But anybody who's ever carried a totem, I have a couple over here in the corner, that gets old real fast. You're literally carrying like a lampstand around with you, and you're like, this is fun, right? And then you're looking at people in the crowd and they're dancing and they're free and they're fanning themselves, and you're like, this is fun,
Hmm.
right? And yeah, then your friends all leave you and you're standing in the spot holding the spot for them, and you're like, this is fun, right?
I like to see him go into the Ubers, like sideways.
I know, right? They're like,
Hmm.
it's Mary Poppins in that thing.
I give
And
you props for holding it. That's
Yeah.
the most important job.
that's why you
That's
work
why he
out,
goes to the
man. So you
gym.
can hold the
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Exactly.
Hmm.
He knows.
I
But
see you.
reality is this is your totem. In our modern world, everybody has a phone, and if you bring it with you to a rave, because not everybody does, it's an easy way to just ping location. You have a digital totem now, and I can see where you're at now. I will find you. And see, I want to. This is where Chris and I different. He wants you to have a safe side quest. I don't care if you have a safe side quest. I want you to side quest to me.
Get
I want to
feral,
be
go
the side
crazy.
quest. There is a little exclamation point above my head, and when you find me, you get loot. I drop loot into your hands as a
It's pretty
prize
amazing.
for
It's not
finding
just
it.
like
Hmm.
loot dropped at times. It's like a reading is the totem choosing you, right? It is
Yeah, it's spooky.
it's an experience. That's
It
the word I'm
is.
looking for. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And so, with that wonderful segue to talk about the app there at the end, that was my parting shot. Chris, do you have any parting shots?
Ooh. My parting shots are please continue to look for more updates coming from the application. If you have any rave clothing, festival clothing needs, especially if you're in the local area going to Decadence,
Yes.
this is actually not our shirt. It just happens to kind of look like our shirt.
What?
This actually came from Rave Circus in
Love Rave
Tempe.
Circus.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
Nathan at Rave Circus has been an awesome partner and a fantastic supporter. And so if you're over by Mill Ave, over by all the venues down there, and over by ASU, check it out. I'm
I'll tell
sure
you
our
what,
guest is very familiar with it. He was down there.
I'm
Hmm.
not over down there, and I'll still go to it. Rave Circus is awesome.
It
Everybody
is.
should check it out. You know,
Hmm.
what?
Ravecircus.com.
Yeah,
There
Yeah.
definitely.
you go.
Shout out.
Shameless plug. There you go.
Hmm.
One, support local businesses, and
That's
it's
it.
a different vibe. But you go to your first festival, right? You show up in shorts and a t-shirt, and you're like, this is cool, right? But
Yeah.
then you start to customize your swag. You get cool stuff. And that is one of the best experiences at a festival. Is people literally come out of the crowd to say, I really like your hoodie. And you're like, where did you come
Right.
from? But thank you. That is so nice.
Right.
My wife gets this everywhere we go. Oh man. Um, what show was it? Millennium, Rawhide, Return to Rawhide, hot
Mm.
as hell. It was my
Hmm.
wife's birthday rave, right? Birthday festival. It was also the one where um, it was my first official outing as the rave daddy for
Yeah.
the rave daddy guys. I was tagging them in all the stuff and giving them festival coverage. And we had only been there like 1.5 minutes. We walked through the gate. I'm on my phone. I'm looking for my friends. My wife and I are standing there, and she has a glowing crown on, right? That says happy birthday with her awesome outfit and her braids and stuff. And somebody comes out of the crowd with her friends, and they all just walk up around us and start talking to her. And they're just like, you look beautiful. This is amazing. You're radiant. And they're all talking to each other about their hair and their clothes. And I'm like, guys, this is 8 seconds into the rave. I haven't even hit the restroom yet, right? It's typical guy because you've been holding it because you had to drive there and everything.
Hmm.
So, but it's wonderful because when you like are feeling confident and you are feeling in this place where you're like suspending reality for a little while, right? You can just wear whatever. Let it hang out. Nobody cares. Everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
You're out
Yeah.
there like I'm gonna be shirtless at some point, just even if it's cold, doesn't matter. It always happens, right?
Hmm.
And so that
Mhm.
is the fun of it. And places like Rave Circus give you the opportunity to kind of also shop around. Like you can, it's one thing to go online and be
Really
like, I know
fun.
what my style is. I'm going to buy this. It's a different to find a unique shirt that you're like, now that is a rave shirt, right? Or
Right.
in a girl's case, you
100%.
pull out a string and you say, now that is a rave floss. But like
Yeah. They
they
also have a
have it.
bunch of toys, like flow toys, like flow, yeah,
Oh,
those kind of toys. I saw your face. No, they
yes,
have
you
flow
did.
toys.
Oh, toys.
I'm sure they also have, they got rave baby like pacifiers and things. So,
Yeah, definitely.
but flow toys is definitely the spot for those too. So
So check out Rave Circus. Shout out to local
Hmm.
business. They're awesome.
Hmm.
Well, any other parting shots there, Chris?
that's it for me.
All right, I'm gonna roll my sleeves up here. We're almost done. We're getting in the nitty gritty. I've given my parting shots. The audience is in suspense because that just leaves first edition. First edition. Do you have any parting shots, shout outs that you would like to give before we close us out here on the fourth, but first edition, fourth episode of Ready VIP?
Yeah, no, I just want to shout out you guys. I really appreciate
Aw.
you guys like having me on here. Um, you've been super nice the whole time. Even like when we met in person, for the whipped cream show, I remember seeing the Rave Daddy shirt and just like following you guys on Instagram. So I kind of knew the logo and I was like, hey, like I know you guys, but didn't really know you yet. But yeah, so I just want to shout you guys out. Just thank you for having me on. Like, just to tell my story and tell
Hmm.
like just share everything with you. Um, and then just shout out like all of my. I mean, my wife. She's listened to my music
Nice.
since the beginning, since it was absolute shit. All the way to now where it's not as much, but it's but it's been yeah, it's and she comes to every show and my friends that come to my shows, and then all of my producer friends that I've
Hmm.
now became like good friends with, like Jesse, Deathbeat, Ronan, um, Rain, Raindrop. They're all really good artists, but also now are like really good friends for me. And we've just like have had a good community now, going to each other's shows and just supporting each
Nice.
other. Um, and then everybody else, I mean, we're in a group chat called Upward Trajectory, and we just all a couple or a lot of people around here. We all just kind of share music between each other. We talk, share shows, share posts, just to like lift each other up and just have a good time. And so shout out to all of them. They're all like really good friends of mine now. And then, man,
Yeah,
I
like
think
I don't
that's
want to
it.
leave
I'm
anybody out. Yeah.
yeah, just everybody. It's
There's
been
always somebody.
crazy and like even Nelson. You guys were talking to Nielsen. He's an
Nielsen's the
awesome guy.
best.
Love Nielsen.
Yeah, he
Oh, my
So
homie.
when
positive.
I had not even like 100 followers. Like he was talking to me. I was just asking him questions, like just
Hmm.
advice back. I remember in 2023 when I was starting everything on my Instagram. He gave me great advice, and then the Egyptian was actually when we first met in person finally.
Oh wow,
So
that's
that was really
amazing.
good. And so shout out to him. I
Yeah,
always
that
love how
is
positive he is.
that's what he's all about. And if you haven't checked it out, listeners, episode one with Nielsen, that is what we talk about is helping the community and helping DJs get started and reach out to him. He is just a great person all around and has a really good understanding of music and what you need to do to get started and grow and can't recommend Nielsen enough. And he's going to do big things, right? He just played Gold Rush. He's got
Hmm.
new music coming out. So I expect to see that guy sitting on a skyrocket.
100%. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. He's super talented and a great guy
Yeah,
on
it's
top of
the
it.
it's the chemistry for awesome. Um,
Hmm.
any other shout outs first edition? Any other parting shots?
I think that's it. I mean, Relentless Beats for giving me the opportunity
Yes.
to play Decadence. I never thought at that stage I'd even have the opportunity to play on the stage. So I'm super excited for that. If anybody likes bass and trap, it's a little different than what a lot of people I think are playing right now. But if you give me a shot, come out and go hard for an hour. So
Mm.
I'm gonna have lots of music for my friends, lots of music for myself, and then lots of RL grime. So if you like trap,
Love it.
I'm gonna try to bring it back out here.
Amazing. Definitely shout out Relentless Beats. I love their shows. I go to a bunch of them. They do have connections to just amazing artists and bring festivals here like I dreamed of as a kid. And so I'm so happy to be able to partake in that wonderland here in Arizona, right in our backyard.
That's
Um,
right.
my parting shot, my shout out, because I drop names all throughout the podcast. I don't need a shout out, right? But I do have one. I want to shout out the Arizona Rave Fam Facebook page and our community at large.
Hmm.
We have such a open and accepting and extremely trolly but hilarious community. And Arizona special. Anybody outside of Arizona, come to our festivals, come to our shows, man. It's a whole different vibe. And you're gonna meet the most eclectic melting pot America has to offer, right? Like we are literally
Hmm.
just the big smelting pot right here in Arizona. It's hot. It's hot. That's
Yeah,
why we.
yeah, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah,
It's
you
very
took the
hot.
joke right out of my mouth. So,
Yep. And so, but still, even in the heat, some of the best plur I've ever seen, some of the, best connections I've ever made. The music is incredible, the people are incredible, and those out there that aren't the best version of themselves, remember that they are on their journey and that they're learning and that everybody starts somewhere. And the best thing that we can do is always just be a good example of at some point when they go back and they look back and they think, who is it that I want to be? How do I want to achieve that like next level raver status as they grow from baby raver into adult raver or future raver, whatever it happens to be?
Rave daddy.
Yeah, you're rave daddy,
The
future
rave
rave
daddy.
daddy,
Yeah,
future wook, right? They're just
yeah, right.
Hmm.
climbing fences and crazy stuff. They all start somewhere. And I have met a lot of people at festivals over the last year who it was their first rave, and so they were very new, but also people who are still learning in this post-COVID era how to share space, how to, you know, it's one of the most normal things in the rave community is to say excuse me when you bump into somebody out of habit, even if you're in a crowd of 100,000 people, right?
Hmm.
And that doesn't make an exception if you're super cool or tough or anything like that. We all still want to say excuse me. We all still try to be polite here. And so if you can be that person, even if they're not that person to you, at some point, trust me, they will look back and think that moment of kindness is how I want to be, is how I grow from where I'm at now. And so I just ask that everybody, all of us veteran ravers, all of us wooks and rave daddies, all of us rave queens and rave bays and rave bees and rave babies, just to have patience with each other when you're at festivals, including the parking lot. Okay? It extends to traffic outside the festival. You
Hmm.
crazy man.
That's for
But
everyone, but especially those in Arizona.
especially super duper Arizonans, you. I'm talking to you. The rest of you, I love you still. But boy, man, Arizona, we love Plur until we hit the car, and then we're literally monster truck driving over each other to get out.
That's right. So the
So,
takeaways though are all about first edition, how amazing he is,
yes,
and just be kind all the
Oh,
be
time. And you
kind.
can also be kind and be a mature raver
Yeah,
with your shirt off while pinching your nipples.
100%. And that all goes, that's the perfect summary of the community. One of my
Perfect.
favorite quotes from the 12th Doctor, Peter Capaldi.
Oh.
He's in his final words before he turns into the 13th Doctor. Um, he says, always try to be nice, but never fail to be kind. And that has always stuck with me. And so take that with you into the new year, rave daddies, rave veterans, rave friends, and just have a good time. I'll see you at Decadence.
it's gonna be a great time. I'll be there both days. Like I'm playing on New Year's Eve, but I'll be there on the 30th. So anybody, like I know for sure I'll see you guys. But anybody else, hit me up on Instagram and we'll meet up.
Yeah. If you find us, we'll be in some form of branding logo, so then he'll be nearby.
Drinking.
Right, right. Hey, we have
Same.
no HR department here.
I'm the HR department.
Oh, now we're in real trouble.
All right. Well, what a wonderful cast this has been. Thank you, First Edition, for joining us. This has just been one of my favorite recordings. What a great time hanging out in the green room with you on the offstage stuff, getting to know you. We're definitely going to hang out. Expect to see more First Edition and future Rave Daddy when we can come back and celebrate his success after show and festival and signing. And we're going to be the little guys next time. You can come back and he's be like, man, I'm kind of a big deal now. How much you going to pay me? And I'm going to be like, how about that beer I owe you?
No, you guys are great. No, I appreciate it. And
Free
thank you
ghost.
guys once again.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
for having me on.
you get the final word. You want to say roll the music?
Let's do it. Let's roll the music.
Boom.